welcome. Welcome to Bay Focus. Thank you for tuning in today. Always glad when you do. Well, we have two organizations, two ministries today that you want to hear about it. Some may be familiar with some of these. It's been a while. However, we want to get updated on Bikes for Christ. Just what that sounds like. Bikes can be used to advance the kingdom of Christ. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. And then just a little bit later in the project, you want to stay tuned in the program for this. The Protect Our Children project. You want to know what that is. Going into how they go into the schools, and boy, do our children need protecting these days, and some things that you can do to help as well. But we're going to start with Bikes for Christ, and we have with us the founder back with us, Pat Simmons. Thank you for coming back. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You've been busy.
Oh, very busy.
Since you were last year. Yeah. But I know we have viewers that don't know what Bikes for Christ is. Please explain.
So what we do is we provide bicycles to over 60 organizations that work directly with clients in need. We work into parts of 4 counties here in the Tampa Bay area doing this.
Yeah, and you know, why is that such a need? I mean, you know, you don't automatically think of, well, you know, what would be such a big need, but there really is.
Yeah, a bicycle can be life-changing for an individual. It can enable them to, number one, go out and find a job, work many miles from home, and ultimately be able to come home, buy food for the family, and put food on the family's table for 365 days a year.
Yeah, you know, I have to say, all of us driving the roads encounter people on bikes, and you can really tell some are coming to and from work, or you know, and they're trying to, and how critical that is. And then, all right, how do you get the bikes and distribute them? How do you do that?
Well, so they're all the bicycles are donations, and initially how we started out with that was just simple ad postings on Facebook, their garage sale sites, and yard sale sites, and that's how we started to get donations. At this point, we've got the whole Google Analytics down pretty good, where people, if they just want to donate a bike, we're gonna be one of the organizations that pop up where they can donate. Then once the bikes are donated, we do have a shop. We want the bikes to be as rideable or as close to rideable as possible. Unfortunately, that's not the case. 85% of the bikes need some type of work. We fix them up, and then orders are placed by the organizations for the individuals in need, and we deliver the bicycles to the organizations.
Yeah, so that's a real critical part. What you do is you're actually partnering with other community-based organizations. So they're targeting the need, right?
Correct.
They're bringing the clients.
And they're vetting the clients out to determine that an individual is really trying to improve their situation. Our main focus is underprivileged kids, veterans who are trying to get back on their feet, and anyone that's in need and is trying to improve themselves.
Yeah, well, I want to just brag on you a little bit before we continue talking, because this organization has been recognized as just a top-notch. I like to bring organizations to Bay Focus that you can partner with, and I call it good ground. Your seed goes in good ground. And they have received the Plant City Nonprofit of the Year Award, the WEDU Be More Empowered Small Nonprofit Award. Those were all accompanied by, you know, ceremonies and, you know, that's a huge honor that your efforts are being recognized.
Yeah, kind of mind-blowing a little bit, but
no, and all right. This has been a year, you know, I mean, we're in year number 2 now of navigating a pandemic. Has the need grown?
The need's grown. I'm proud to say that Bikes for Christ never stopped providing. As long as the organizations we were working with were still providing, we were providing for those organizations. The need has grown tremendously, and there's really 2 things that play into that. Number one, obviously people lost their jobs. The unemployment's running out, so the need has gone up. On the flip side of that, everybody was told to stay safe at home. So what did they do? They went out, they dusted off their old bikes, got them tuned up, or they went out and literally bought up every bicycle in sight, causing a national bicycle shortage. And then from that, it affects us because we're not getting the donations that we used to get. And even the people that, let's say here at Christmas, would have gone out and bought a new bike to donate, the bikes weren't there. They couldn't find them. So it's really caused a huge dilemma for us.
All right, so right now then, what would the greatest need be that you need bikes?
Bicycles, yeah, definitely bicycles. Men's bikes specifically. Men are just the problem child. That's the best way. That's the best way to sum it up. Because
Yeah.
85 to 90% of our orders are for men.
Okay. All right. Now let's bring in the ministry side of this. How do you share the gospel through this? That wouldn't be an obvious thing. What's your thinking there?
Well, originally we would give out Bibles, but some people may already have a Bible. A Bible can be bulky as well, and a lot of these people are so transient, they can't carry a lot of stuff with them. So we started going with just a small paperback Gospel of John that we get from the Pocket Testament League, because the Gospel of John gets right to the heart of the matter. It gets the individual right where they need to be, so they can, if they choose to, they can come to know Jesus. And that's what we pray happens. And so with every bike that we give out, they get a Gospel of John. And you also think that no good can come of a pandemic. Well, it actually did. We had a donation of 2,000 backpacks last year that we received only because a trade show was canceled, and these were sitting at an air freight place next to the airport, and basically they said, these got to go. So somebody called us. We got 2,000 of them. The Sheriff's Department got another 2,000 of them. So we've been giving those backpacks out with our bicycles and also distributing those to our partners to give out to the individuals they work with.
Well, you got to say that's a God thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that's
Absolutely.
just totally God providing. Well, of course, there's just the fact that you're showing your faith in action, even as the opportunity to share the gospel and get this gospel to them. But just by your interactions with them, and in providing this is showing the love of Christ. I mean,
exactly.
And you've done this beyond just the borders of Tampa Bay. You've done some missions work.
Right, so we've helped provide bicycles. Our first international work was in Guatemala, where I was able to gift myself 2 individuals with bicycles. Then we also sent bicycles to Haiti on 2 occasions in 2019. And then in 2020, I was like, we're not going to get to do any international work this year. Yeah. And then in November, I was contacted by the president of the Tampa Bay Liberian Community Association and asked if we could send some bikes to Liberia for kids for Christmas. Yeah. And of course, my first question was, who's providing the transportation? Yeah. And they said that they were doing that, and I said, fine, we'll jump on it. So we had a week to get bikes together. We were able to get 23 bikes together and also 23 children's scriptural texts to be able to send. And they finally made it over there the 1st of February, and I got those pictures back, and I was just blown away to see those kids with those bikes, and our bikes all the way across the world.
That's quite a order, a special order.
Yeah, it was just awesome. And since then, we've been in touch again, and we're continuing to stay in touch and going to continue to work with this organization to do more to help them out in their plight.
Oh, okay. I love this. All right, tell our viewers one last time here. What's your greatest needs? How's the way that they can help you right now and year round?
The greatest need, as always, men's bicycles. The other greatest need, monetary donations, because a nonprofit is a business like any other business. We have an overhead. We have a lot of operating expense to keep this going. So those are the main 2 things that we need. And then you're going to see in just a moment the contact information. First of all, though, we're going to close out your segment. We're going to show so that people can see what you do. We're going to show a great video of Bikes for Christ. Thank you, Pat, for coming on and continuing keeping
Bay Focus updated on
Absolutely.
what you're doing. Let's take a look at Bikes for Christ. Well, we are going to change directions now on Bay Focus and talk about some really, really important organization that has started within the last year. However, the people behind it have a long, long history of advocacy for families and for Christian values. It's called the Protect Our Children Project, and I cannot think of a better name. And before you meet the president of this organization and co-founder, let me give you a little background on Terry Kemple. He is not new to Bay Focus, but it's been a while. But for 25 years, Terry Kemple has stood for the Judeo-Christian principles America was founded on. He has led petition drives that have collected tens of thousands of signatures to fight and against partial birth abortions, rallying hundreds of people to attend school board meetings in Hillsborough County. He's defended the rights of students, parents, and teachers, and helping pass school choice legislation in Florida. That's just a few of the things that he's done. You've probably seen him in the news over the years. He's also a proud parent and grandfather, so you've lived it in your own life. Welcome back, Terry.
Well, thank you, Darlene, and actually great-grandfather, too. I
Oh,
have
my goodness.
13 grand and 8 great-grand, so I've got a real vested interest in this issue.
You have been, yeah, you do have a vested interest, and you've
Yes.
seen all the different stages of the education system through all
Yes.
those years of raising your children, seeing your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. And I wanted to share that because you have been on the front lines. And this is a newer organization now. You've done a variety of different things. Tell our viewers, what is Protect Our Children Project?
Sure. Protect Our Children Project is specifically what it says, Protect Our Children Project, but our mission is to protect our children's innocence, privacy rights, and quality of education by supporting the family and encouraging community involvement. And that, I mean, this is a wide range of things, obviously, but I'll just come to the main focus right now, Darlene. Mm-hmm. We have really institutional attacks on our kids in our schools, and that's in the area of sex and sexualization. Yeah. Our kids are being inundated with anti-God, anti-family, anti-Christian ideas about sex and sexuality. So that's really where our primary focus is at the moment, but we also deal with other things, the other anti-family, anti-God, anti-America, anti-capitalism, etc. But for this program, I think the most important thing to parents right now is understanding what's going on with their children in the schools.
You know, and I think there's such a sense of, and if you're a Christian family that believes in Christian definitions of family, Judeo-Christian principles, that the importance of raising your children with those. So many have just given up. They don't know what, if I allow my child to stay in public school, what's this going to do? They may not be able to afford Christian school or private schools, and even some of those are under attack as to what, you know, they can and can't do. And so they just pull them out of school and homeschool. Now, homeschool is a great thing, but it's not always for everybody, particularly if you have two families that are, you know, parents that are working. And then what I've also seen, Terry, is that it can vary from school district to school district, including of public schools. That's part of what you're going to do, right? Is try to have like an organization based in multiple locations.
That's correct. Actually, our goal is to establish a county chapter for Protect Our Children Project in all 67 counties in Florida. We have 12 or 13 at the last count where we actually have chapters that are in process. We have one here in Pinellas County, we have one in Hillsborough County, we have one in Pasco County, we have one in Polk County, so we've got a hub here in the Tampa Bay area. We've also got a hub up in the Jacksonville area, and we've got a hub over in the Orange County area. So we are really trying to strategically build the organization in a way that allows us to assist one another and provide that synergy that having the organizations in the
and
areas.
with all your background in this. And again, because each school district, and it's how we're set up, you know, each school district have some autonomy, you know, that things can be done on that end. All right, as a parent, if I'm a parent right now of a young child, particularly growing up through the system or even a teenager, et cetera, it seems to me right now one of the biggest concerns I have is that children are being allowed to define their own sexuality, choose what gender identity, and I send my child to school and they could be influenced by a fellow student. As a parent, am I powerless to do anything about that?
Well, first of all, I think the most important thing that parents need is the knowledge of what's actually going on and what their kids are doing. You'll find in most of the school districts that where this type of policy or procedure is put in place, where boys can use the girls' room and the girls' shower and play in girls' sports, etc., and the same for girls doing with the boys, is that they really don't divulge it. I guess that's the best way to say it. It's done procedurally rather than policy-wise. If it's a policy, the school board has to vote on it. There have to be 2 public hearings so that people have the opportunity to learn about it. But what they do is they sneak it in as a procedure underneath some other existing policy, and that way they don't have to tell anybody. So what we're trying to do is get the word out to parents. Here's what's going on. Here are some strategies you can use in order to be able to have some impact on it, and then also provide some assistance in actually implementing those strategies. Our model, if you will, is to have 100 people in each county who are part of the Protect Our Children Project organization. That provides voice. When the school board is doing something that's wrong, or the district is doing something and you want the school board to act on it, bring 100 people to a school board meeting. And just a quick example, you mentioned Hillsborough County. We had last year in Polk County, we had 2 teachers whose jobs had been threatened because they were Christian teachers. There was a young girl who said she thought she was a boy and she wanted to use the locker room and the showers with the boys. Those 2 teachers said they wouldn't oversee the locker room with the girl in the boys' locker rooms, and their jobs were threatened. So we went to a school board meeting. There were about 225 of us who showed up. Many of them were pastors. Many of us, I'm not a pastor, but many of the people with us were pastors. And those 2 teachers still have their jobs.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of impact that we can
You want
have.
to just have a voice. I mean, I think that's the thing, is there's such a, I guess we can't even get into this whole concept of cancel culture, but I mean, it's just this idea that you want, it should be out in the open.
Yes.
Let the parents have some say. You want to go at it compassionately. There are kids that are struggling with identity. You know, you have to, as a Christian, you have to take a look at this, but we also have standards and things that we have a right to have an input as well. Another thing, if we have more time, we'll get back to this. Another thing that you're dealing with, which was just a shocker when I saw it, is how easy it is for children on their phones to access porn. Explain the issue. It was news to me.
So First of all, anybody who has a cell phone that has data, has access to the internet, can access pornography, and probably, I don't know what the percentage is, but some substantial percentage of the websites that are out there are pornographic websites. So you've got a kid, unless the phone has the blocker turned on, and so there are filters that are available, but those have to be turned on by someone, and typically the kids aren't going to turn it on. So if the parents and the kids are, I don't want to say smarter, but about the phones, they're smarter than their parents. So what we're trying to do is make it so that the cell phone providers have to turn the blocker on before the phone is sold. That way, and the code, the key to unlock that blocker is only given to an adult. So then it's in the parents' hands. Even if the child buys this, kids got money and they go to the store and they know what to ask for and they know what they're looking for. So even if the child has the ability to buy the phone, the child doesn't have the ability to access pornography.
And what you would have like a particular, as long as they're a minor?
A minor, that's correct, yes.
As long as they're a minor. No,
darling, to clarify, all phones, we're trying to make it so that all phones are sold with the blocker turned on. That way you have to physically turn it off in order to be able to access pornography.
How do you make that happen? Is that legally, is there you can legally say to stores or vendors or companies?
It's actually go to the manufacturers. So that's really, that's,
you're asking them to do it like voluntarily?
Well, there's also been contact made with members of the federal legislature.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
also
There's
here
got
in
to be
Florida,
some
the
type
state
of legal,
legislature.
congressional.
Sure. Ultimately, if it's going to happen, there will probably be a law that makes it happen unless there's enough political, I won't say political, enough public clout that's brought to bear on these on the companies. You got AT&T, et cetera, So if they're put in a position where they know it's in their best interest to do the right thing, then they're going to do the right thing.
Yeah, okay, that's really important. All right, so right now, in the few moments we have remaining, I think there's a number of parents that just are trying to navigate public school system, and it's not only that children are trying to figure out sexuality, and so much of this is changing. There's curriculum that we don't have time to get into right now. There's things that are, history being redefined. There's all these kinds of things. What now with your organization? How can parents get involved in what you're doing? What's some actionable things they can do?
Sure. Actually, the first and most important thing is go to the website. It's pocp.org and sign up. So become a member of the organization. You can become a friend, you can become an official member, a regent member, a founding member, but become a member, because then we have your contact information, and we can start giving information to you as it comes into us, and you can also continue to go to the website to access the information about what's going on in your community. You'll find out where the meetings are in your community, and then when you go to the meetings, you'll find out what the current activities are that people are trying to do something about. And if you have an issue that maybe we haven't dealt with or we are not sure about, we want to hear from you. So
that's a really big part.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you just brought that
Absolutely.
up. It was on my list to bring up. Are you looking for input?
No question about it. So there's a variety of categories of involvement, I guess the way that I would say it. One of the categories is parental awareness, and there's two sides to that. We want to know from parents what's going on. What are your problems? How can we help you? On the other side of it, we want to tell you, here are the things that are going on that you may not know about, that you really need to know about, so that you can take some action. And here's some things that you can do. So we've got activism that's involved. We've got research that's involved. We've got communication with the leadership in the school district, with the superintendent, the school board members, the other administrators. And Darlene, this goes right down to the school. The state does provide some direction as to what happens in the schools. Then the school district, the local school district, provides some direction. Each principal has a great deal of autonomy within that school district. So if you take 15 people to your principal on a given issue, you have a good where the principal has the purview to say this way or that way on that issue, you have a good chance of having that issue go in your direction.
That's what's so great about our education system. And I think what we need to say is we as Christians should not abandon public education.
No. So, and here's, homeschooling, although I really love homeschooling, it's not a panacea, because your kids are still dealing with other kids who are going through this stuff, who are having this garbage.
They have to learn to
dumped on them.
navigate.
Exactly right. And then if they go on in the
society.
future to college someplace,
they're going to encounter.
They're going to encounter it. They have to be prepared.
We can't be in a bubble. We have to, like I said, with compassion, be able to reach out to people, being able to affect change yet when holding our standards. Terry, we're out of time. I knew this was going to fly. I knew it. But I have to tell you, you've watched so many different levels of this over the years. You've never lacked for anything to advocate for. You've never got it all done. I mean, there's always more. We have to stay engaged. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wish you the best. And,
Thank you.
And you have a gentleman that works side by side with you too, Ernie Rivera.
Yes.
And he's got a background education as well. So you have people plugged in. So this is a good organization. I want you, if you can, support, protect Our Children project. Wow, the name says it all. The name says it all. But in the same sense, we not only need to protect them, and Terry's made it very clear, we need to equip them.
Amen.
Protect and equip. They need to be able to affect change in their society and reach people for Christ in their own generation. Here's how you can find out more. Hello, my name is Darlene Greenlee, and I want to invite you to join us each week on Bay Focus. We are going to highlight local ministries, community organizations, events, concerts. Reporter Brooke Rathmel goes behind the scenes to get the interviews you want to see. I hope you will join me each week on Bay Focus. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Hope you'll support Bikes for Christ and help them with bike donations any way that you can. And then also the Protect Our Children project. Wow, so much going on there. To get involved in your community, don't pull away. Get involved with both of these ministries today. And thank you for tuning in. Keep me informed on what's going on in the area too, so that we can highlight it on Bay Focus. Have a wonderful week. May God richly, richly bless you.